those three girls were full-on reflections of the reasons why I had always been single. You know how they say, show me the 5 people you hang out with and you're gonna show me you? I'm gonna tell you today how true that statement is. I'm gonna share a personal story of how true that was for me, using the mirror method and the mirror concept, where your relationships are a reflection of yourself and how you're showing up, or a projection of your inner thoughts and your inner feelings about yourself and about life and about your worldview in this world. I was at a retreat. I was there with 3 friends. I had met a guy there and I was really excited about it. And when we were gonna go have a dinner date and whatnot, and I was telling them all about it, and I was really excited and I wanted to go see him, I was just kind of like calming my nerves before the date. Last minute, it just didn't work out. It just didn't work out. And I was just so disappointed. I was really sad and hurt. I remember seeing these 3 friends of mine literally sound like the voices in my own head, the own critics that I've had in my own head about how I feel like I show up and why it hasn't worked out in relationships. One of them criticized, well, it's the way you talk. The other one criticized, oh, you're being too available. You should wait a while before you respond. The other one told me, oh, you're not being feminine enough. You're being way too much in your masculine polarity. You took too much lead. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, first of all 3 of them are single. None of them met anybody there, and they all have a lot of opinions to give to me. And I looked and I had to have a moment with myself to be like, you know what, Ida, are you really showing up in any of these ways? And are any of these really productive for developing a true connection and real love? I needed to see my own internal dialogue, because those were my personal barriers to coupling up in the past. Because I was playing way too many dating rules and games, or I felt like I had to show up a certain way other than being my authentic self. Like, oh, I'm not being feminine enough, so let me show up more feminine, which wasn't authentic. Or just being critical of like, oh, maybe I said something wrong, or maybe I shouldn't have done this, or maybe I shouldn't have done that, or whatnot. And those 3 girls were full-on reflections of the reasons why I had always been single, and how I needed to start dismantling those kind of thought patterns within myself. Once I started to change those thought patterns within myself, guess what? I no longer could vibe with those friends of mine. I couldn't connect with them anymore, because our approach to dating was so different. I was becoming more authentic and more comfortable with who I am, and more genuine, and that was resulting in a really genuine connection that I had developed during this retreat. It was actually very deep, very profound, and that in itself was a bunch of reflections attracting in my life and attracted to in my life. But that's for another video. I hope that this helps you to see that. So rather than being a victim there, which was very hard to sit there and have 3 women just kind of go at me right in the middle of a vulnerable place that I was in, I felt really like hurt and sad and defeated, and not rejected, but kind of like just, I felt like a little like, I was just sad because I really wanted it to happen and it wasn't happening. In that deep, vulnerable state, I had 3 harsh dialogues coming at me. And they all apologized afterwards, by the way, because they realized it was pretty intense. I drew that into my own experience. I invited that into my own experience, because right in my most vulnerable times, historically, I was really harsh with myself. I truly was. I truly did not have that gentle compassion with myself, and I was constantly beating myself up, and this was just another genre for me to beat myself up over. And they were gifts to me. These 3 women were absolute complete gifts to me, to show me how I show up for myself during my most vulnerable times. I had a big transformation after that, and also it helped me to solidify that I trust who I am, I'm comfortable in my own skin, and I trust how I'm showing up. Either we match or we don't, but I can't sit there and play all these dating games just to get things going. Either we get along or we don't, and the only way we'll know that is if we show up with our authentic, genuine selves. These friends were complete gifts, very eye-opening, and it was during a retreat where I was more in tune with seeing the mirror method, because it was very strongly prominent throughout the entirety of the retreat. Even though I already have this worldview, it helped amplify this worldview for me to see it even more clearly. I hope that my story was inspiring for you, and I'd love to hear your practice with this mirror method to see if anything is starting to show up for you, or if you're able to develop any insights through these videos around the mirror method. And I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments. Thank you. I'll catch you in the next video. May peace be with you.